On my wedding day, the groom ran away, so I turned around and married his dad instead. If I can't be the bride, I'll be your mom. When he came back, he saw me still in his house and thought I was shamelessly refusing to leave. He pulled out a pure, innocent girl from behind him, declaring she was his true love, and told me not to delude myself. I smiled slightly and held the hand of the man beside me. Son, daughter-in-law, call me mom and let me hear it. I'm the heiress of the Brown Group. Today was supposed to be my wedding day with the Yale family's son, but the groom who should have appeared at the wedding was nowhere to be seen. You're saying Lucas ran away? My voice was ice cold. That seems to be the case. The maid trembled as she reported. My parents were furious too. The Brown and Yale families had been preparing for this wedding for months. All the top socialites in New York had received invitations, and the media was reporting on it extensively. If Lucas had any objections to the wedding during this time, he could have brought them up at any point. To run away on the wedding day was simply slapping the Brown family in the face publicly. After comforting me, my parents hurriedly left to discuss countermeasures. As I huddled in a corner, contemplating how to proceed with this engagement party, there was a commotion at the entrance. I instinctively looked up and saw a man in a black suit with strikingly handsome features. This man was Adrian Yu, the current head of the Yale family and Lucas's nominal father. At 35 years old, he still looked like he was in his early 20s. Adrian rarely appeared at large events. Even I had only seen him a handful of times. The moment this man appeared, people from various families at the banquet rushed over, watching Adrian politely decline everyone and stride towards me. A crazy idea suddenly popped into my head. Uncle Adrian. I put on a polite smile, but there was a hint of grievance in my voice. Next, Adrian's voice, deep and melodious like a cello, rang out. Miss Ming, I'm sorry for the trouble this has caused you. I've already sent people to catch him. You can deal with him as you see fit when he's brought back. I'll explain the situation to everyone. The wedding will be postponed, and the Yale family will bear all losses from this incident. This was indeed a perfect solution, but I now had an even better choice. Uncle Adrian, I've been engaged to the Yale family since childhood, but the groom doesn't necessarily have to be Lucas, right? What the situation changed so quickly that Adrian was momentarily caught off guard. After he realized what I meant, his gaze became profound. Of course. So who do you want to choose? I flashed a sweet smile, then without hesitation reached out my hand towards Adrian. Would you like to be my groom? Although Adrian was Lucas's nominal father, he wasn't Lucas's biological father. There were rumors that Adrian was impotent and had never married. At 25, he had adopted a child from a branch family. That child was Lucas. Impotence didn't matter much to me. With modern medicine being so advanced, I believed it could certainly be cured. If it really couldn't be cured, being childless seemed fine too. Adrian looked at the girl's radiant smile and raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? Of course, I replied without hesitation. Compared to Lucas, Adrian was at least twice as handsome. Even if he was impotent, just looking at his handsome face every day would be satisfying. It was certainly better than being cheated on by that ugly Lucas behind my back. Adrian stared at me intently. All right. As his large hand with distinct knuckles clasped my small, delicate one, my heart skipped a beat. The wedding simply swapped out the main characters. We didn't even need to change clothes. The elegant white wedding dress paired perfectly with Adrian's tailored black suit, as if the two were always meant to be bride and groom. Everyone at the wedding banquet was shrewd. Lucas's escape was too sudden and hadn't been deliberately concealed, so most guests knew about it. Reporters had caught wind of the gossip and were eagerly raising their cameras towards the stage, waiting to see the drama unfold between two of New York's most powerful families. When they saw me walking up arm in arm with Adrian, many people's jaws dropped in shock. They had to admire this move of directly swapping out the groom. The officiant very professionally introduced the new bride and groom with a freshly printed script. The bride and groom will now exchange rings. Adrian took out a ring and put it on my finger. I also took out a ring and put it on Adrian's finger. As I was putting the ring on Adrian, I noticed it didn't fit well. My eyes showed an apologetic look. This ring was sized for Lucas. There wasn't time to make a new one on such short notice. It's good that it could still be used, even if it was a bit tight. After exchanging rings, it was time for the groom to kiss the bride. I couldn't help feeling nervous. Adrian's public image was one of keeping himself pure and aloof. Even on the rare occasions he attended events, he never had a female companion. Would he be willing? I was starting to regret dragging Adrian into this on a whim. Just as I was lost in thought, I suddenly felt a soft sensation on my lips. I opened my eyes in disbelief to see Adrian's flawless face up close. Seeming to sense my shock, Adrian placed his hand on the back of my head to deepen the kiss. I slowly closed my eyes as the guests' congratulatory applause rang out around us. My parents were unaware of my sudden choice, but they could only smile and respond to the congratulations from those around them. They couldn't publicly embarrass their daughter. After all, taking advantage of the toast, my mom pulled me into a room. My dad was there too. She locked the door. Olivia, what's going on? How did you suddenly end up with Adrian? Because he's handsome. I didn't know how else to explain my impulsive decision. Handsome, my mom thought about Adrian's face. He was indeed very handsome, but he's over 10 years older than you. He was almost done with elementary school when you were just born. So what, don't they say older men are more caring? I brazenly replied. But I heard he's impotent. My mom's brow remained furrowed. This. Just as I was racking my brain trying to find a way to gloss over this, there was a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. My mom opened the door. Adrian was standing there. It wasn't clear if he had just arrived or had been there for a while. My parents quickly put on gracious smiles, as if they hadn't just been questioning him. Mr. You. Is there something you need? I have some things I'd like to discuss with you. Adrian chatted with my parents about who knows what. In just a short while, they were no longer opposed to this marriage and actually seemed quite approving of Adrian. Adrian is good too. Capable and skilled. My dad acknowledged Adrian's abilities, though he was older. This kind of man could truly protect his precious daughter. Lucas, who ran away at the last minute, wasn't worthy of his daughter. After the wedding, I moved into Adrian's mansion. This place was Adrian's personal residence. It was my first time here. The interior decor was minimalist, best described as black, white and gray. A day of busy socializing left us smelling of alcohol and sweat. Adrian went to freshen up first. I sat on the couch to rest. The sound of running water could be heard from the bathroom through the frosted glass. I could vaguely make out the figure inside. My face flushed red with embarrassment, and I stopped looking. After a while, the water stopped. I instinctively looked up. Adrian walked out of the bathroom wearing a bathrobe. The open neckline revealed his muscular chest and hints of abs. I was a bit dazed. Wow, I didn't expect this man to have such a great body. Seeing me staring at him, Adrian's lips curled into a faint smile. Olivia, go take a shower. His deep, magnetic voice rang out. Realizing I had been staring at him in a daze, I shyly retreated to the bathroom, took off my clothes, and let the water run over me. My ears were still ringing with Adrian calling me Olivia. How had I not noticed before how alluring he was? After showering, I suddenly realized I hadn't brought any clothes in with me. I had no choice but to carefully open the bathroom door a crack, poking out half my face. Hey Adrian, I forgot to bring clothes. Could you please hand them to me? There in the bag on the couch. Just pass the whole bag to me. There was no response from outside for a while. I was a bit confused. Had Adrian gone out? Just as I was about to ask again, a response came. Okay. That pleasant voice had a hint of huskiness to it. Then I heard footsteps and the rustling of a bag outside. Soon after, Adrian came to the bathroom door. Here you go. I carefully opened the door a crack and stuck out my arm. The clothes were placed in my hand. Thank you. As I closed the bathroom door, I accidentally made eye contact with Adrian. Those deep eyes seemed to be burning with flames. Looking at the intimate apparel in my hands, my face turned completely red. I clearly told him to pass the whole bag to me. After dawdling in the bathroom for ages, I eventually had to come out. On my wedding day, the groom ran away, so I turned around and married his dad instead. If I can't be the bride, I'll be your mom. Part 2. I steeled myself and pushed open the door. Adrian had already changed into pajamas and was sitting on the bed reading some documents. Seeing me come out, he closed the documents. Seeing no teasing expression on his face, I let out a sigh of relief. I actually had some serious matters I wanted to ask him about. How do you plan to deal with Lucas? As if he had anticipated I would ask, Adrian handed me the documents he was just reading. Take a look. I walked over and took the documents. Inside was the process of Lucas meeting a girl, similar to the cliché rich young master falling for a pure, innocent girl in old romance novels. There was even a photo of this innocent girl helpfully attached. She really did look pure and innocent. Without my knowledge, these two had gone through cycle after cycle of angst and reconciliation, until last night, when the innocent girl learned Lucas was getting married. She called Lucas in tears. Lucas's heart ached. He regretted it and abandoned his bride-to-be to elope with his pure, innocent love overnight. Wow, if I wasn't the abandoned bride myself, I'd really want to congratulate them. But unfortunately, I was that unlucky bride. Damn it. What were these two doing before? Looking at the timeline in the documents, the two had been in an angsty relationship for 2 months. That was even longer than the wedding preparations. If Lucas had revealed even a hint of this information, I wouldn't be so angry. Lucas has already taken his little girlfriend abroad for a vacation. I've sent people to bring him back. If you're willing, our wedding can be annulled, Adrian said flatly, seeming to have noticed my anger and thinking I regretted it. After all, we hadn't officially registered our marriage, just held a wedding ceremony. But how could I regret this? I lost some trash and gained a treasure. This was simply my good fortune. We're married now. I'm your wife. Let's go register our marriage tomorrow. I was very serious. Adrian saw that my words came from the heart. He became serious too. All right. You said before that I could deal with Lucas as I see fit. Does that still stand? I suddenly flashed a mischievous smile. As you wish. Very good. I want you to freeze his cards. Without funds, let's see how comfortably Lucas can vacation abroad with his pure, innocent girl. Adrian saw through my wicked intentions. Not only did he not stop me, He fanned the flames. Starting today, I'll take away all the funds under his name. What do you think, my dear? The sudden my dear caught me off guard. After I realized, my face couldn't help turning red again. I think that's great. Naturally, I was even happier if we could make him suffer more. With the scumbag dealt with, it was time for the next step. Let's rest then. Adrian seemed to truly be tired. He reached out to turn off the lights. Everything went dark. I lay stiffly on the bed, not daring to move. This was my first time getting married, so I wasn't quite sure about the procedures. What should I do next? Consummate the marriage. Just as I was wondering if I should take the initiative. Sleep. I won't touch you until you're willing. I let out a sigh of relief, but then remembered the rumors I had heard before. Could Adrian really resist with a beautiful young woman next to him? Was he really impotent? Adrian, who had just closed his eyes, opened them again. I then realized I had accidentally said my thoughts out loud. I quickly tried to save the situation by pretending to be asleep. However, before I could even close my eyes for 2 seconds, I felt a body on top of me. Long-fingered hands rested on my slender waist as warm breath tickled my ear. Why don't you test it out yourself, my dear? As it turned out, one should not provoke a man who has been abstinent for many years. Otherwise, be prepared to face the consequences. When I woke up the next day, the sun was already high in the sky. The bed beside me was cold. Adrian wasn't there. Well, a big CEO is very busy after all. I was so hungry my stomach was growling. I went downstairs to forage for food. To my surprise, Adrian was sitting at the dining table, holding a magazine. My dear, you're up. Did you sleep well last night? Today Adrian wasn't wearing a suit. He had on a simple white shirt with the collar slightly open, faintly revealing the marks underneath. Remembering yesterday, my face flushed red again, but I refused to back down. Verbally, I slept very well. Darling. Hearing this pet name, Adrian's smile grew even more unrestrained. It seems my dear was very satisfied with last night. That puts my mind at ease. Who's praising him? This old man is so shameless. I can't compete. I really can't compete. I grumbled as I sat down at the table. I'm hungry. Adrian smiled indulgently and went to the kitchen to bring out the food he had been keeping warm. You just woke up, so you can't eat anything too greasy. The breakfast on the table was simple: a plate of steamed buns, 2 small side dishes, and a bowl of porridge. I was starving and didn't care about the details. I eagerly picked up a bun and took a bite. My eyes immediately lit up. It's delicious. This is so good. Who made these buns? Adrian smiled without saying anything. A thought flashed through my mind. Don't tell me you made them. Adrian casually confirmed it with a light comment. I'm glad they suit your taste. I wanted to say something snarky, but the flavor really was excellent.